The new NBA and MLB season is in full swing, and BetOnline has you covered with the best odds and biggest promotions and live in-game betting on all your favorite teams. Head to BetOnline today to stay updated on all the action. BetOnline, the game starts here.
If you're looking to streamline your audio advertising buys and maximize your revenue, look no further than Triton Digital's programmatic audio advertising exchange, A2X. The private exchange consists of only licensed broadcasters and top-tier internet radio publishers, assuring the quality inventory and brand safety you can trust. Visit www.tritondigital.com to learn more.
Barley, hops, yeast, and water. The simple ingredients of an extraordinary story. With a rich and creamy history spanning more than 264 years, it has become a legendary part of Irish culture and is celebrated as Ireland's national drink. Its first shipment in 1769 was just 6.5 barrels, but today it sells more than 10 million pints every single day. With fans that are so devoted they are willing to fly around the globe just for a glass fresh from the brewery, it has become one of the most successful alcohol brands on the planet. But, more importantly, without it, we wouldn't know who has the record for the longest fingernails or how big the world's largest meatball is. And that's why this week's On Brand is on Guinness.
You're all jazzed up, really having a cow. You want your favorite show and it's on right now. It's on brand.
Welcome to On Brand with Jon and Marisa.
I'm Jon.
I'm Marisa. I'm still struggling to hear fingernails and meatball in the same sentence.
Right? For some reason, whenever I think of the Guinness Book of World Records, I immediately first think of fingernails.
Yes,
I think it's the most disgusting one. It's the one I remember from like TV shows in the 80s and 90s. That person, their hands are all crippled and deformed.
If your fingernails are curling and curling again, let's just say it's time to move on, get a new hobby.
There's so many questions. How do you wipe is always the number one. How do you wipe? It's just like too much. What a slow record. It's like I would do like the person that can put the most cigarettes in their mouth. I'm like, I could do probably one more than that. Like just squeeze it in. But just sitting there for 30 years growing my nails, no thanks.
Well, and people are getting very creative now. It'll be like the world's biggest banana cream pie. And it's like, okay, the whole town is, devoting their lives. It's so arbitrary. But, I admire the community spirit of it. It's kind of like a flash mob.
It is. Oh, but yeah, it can. When they do like a community one together, like all of Iowa comes together to make this flapjack. It's like, good for you. I don't know if I'm going to cry, but good for you.
Jon, I have a question.
Yeah.
Follow up from a couple episodes ago.
Okay.
Did you score an Ariana Grande signed compact disc?
It's crazy that you asked me that. Well, let's just get it all out there. I did. I bought 4. They were delivered today, and they're on my porch, and I didn't have time to run over there and get them. Why did I buy 4? That's going to be your question. Or you're going to just go, 4. Jon, 4? Why 4? Because I'm a flipper. I'm the non-flipping flipper. And the limit was 4. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to buy 4 and flip them. Now they're on eBay. They're not even selling for that much. Now I'm just going to have 4 Ariana Grande CDs autographed. Maybe we'll end up giving one away to a brand freak. I'll sign it. You'll have it signed by me and Ariana Grande.
What was the market price of those?
What did I buy them for? I think I bought them for $14. They're selling for about $35. But you know what? When she dies,
yes,
$70, $80 maybe.
She is quite young.
Through the roof. She is very young. She doesn't, but she's also quite thin.
It's true, but I don't know if we're going to be around when she dies.
Wow. Someone said that when I said that about Green Day. My friend was like, are you older than Green Day? They're like, what do you... I was like, yeah, but he's a rock and roller. We don't know when he's out the door.
I know we're older than Ariana Grande.
Yeah, but listen, if anything in the last few years has taught us anything, none of us know when our time is up.
That's true. We should definitely gamble on that.
Yeah.
The young and rich and healthy, untimely expiration.
Yeah. So I have a question for you. One,
Great.
is there any update on the Old Navy package?
I'm scared to circle back with oldnavy.com. I'm back and forth between lying and saying, like, you guys messed up.
Babe, you cannot blame it on them.
Or just owning it and saying, like, listen, like this, I feel like what you would do. Go like, listen,
Look.
I know I'm so humiliated. Please take pity on me.
I have done that to companies where I'm like, yes, this is my fault.
Yes.
You work for a multi-billion-dollar company. I know this is not on you at all, but if maybe this one time.
My only concern is that they have to, I'm assuming, like check a box on their computer. And if it's like, I'm telling them like it was my mistake, I don't get the box checked that's like free refund. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
you lie all the time with returns. So don't act like you're all
Whoa,
high and mighty.
whoa. What do you mean I lie all the time with returns?
Well, you told the story on the pod about the succulent wreath from Costco.
One.
Okay, I remember you bought an air mattress pump on the way to a camping trip and then returned it on the way back.
That's not a lie. I
But
returned it.
Did you say like, I went camping, I don't need it anymore?
You don't have to tell them anything.
Omission is lying.
You can. There's a thing that was at Target.
Choose not to say. Reason for return, choose not to say.
Privacy, please. First Amendment, Fifth Amendment. They have a checkbox thing at Target. You can just put like changed mind.
Changed mind. Okay, changed mind.
Some things I do that are questionable.
Like what?
Like if I break something, I broke my air fryer. And then
How do you break an air fryer?
my apartment is so small.
How small is it?
380 square feet.
Oh.
It's small. And my air fryer, I just don't have a lot of room, and my air fryer is on the
Well,
cabinet.
also, like, it's not just that it's
Okay.
small. It's like, you've told us all about all the stuff you have. So I think people can kind of be creating a picture in their mind that maybe the style of your apartment is not minimalist, we'll say.
You sound like my ex-girlfriend Marcia in Italy, one of two ex-girlfriends that I have in my portfolio. Anytime I mention anything now in the pod, she'll write me from Italy like, John, Ariana Grande CDs, where?
Where are
Where are
these
you
going?
putting them? What are you doing? She calls me a disgusting hoarder.
So use this context for this air fryer story. Okay, so your place is so small, the air fryer.
The air fryer's on the kitchen counter.
Uh-huh.
There's nowhere else for me to put it. A lot of times...
That's a pretty normal place to put an air fryer.
Thank you. It's not like on the bathroom floor. That's the only place for it. Sometimes when I air fry something, I take it out and I put the basket on top of the air fryer.
Uh-huh.
If I do that, I cannot allow the freezer door to open all the way. So sometimes when I'm getting ice, I get ice and I'm like putting ice in and I let go of the freezer door and it slowly swings back. And it did, and it knocked the basket over and the basket dented and it wouldn't fit in anymore.
Oh, I can imagine. What did you say when that happened?
Well, I didn't freak out.
You didn't?
Well, I was mad, but I didn't like lose it. I quickly jumped on the internet to see, because it was kind of an old air fryer, to see if anyone still sold it.
Where did you buy it?
Target.
Okay.
But they didn't sell it any longer.
Okay.
Walmart still sold it. I bought one from Walmart, and then boxed up the broken one and returned that to Walmart and was like, I don't know what's wrong. I can't like get the basket to go in.
Okay.
And he's like, oh, okay. And he took it back.
Did he just look at you and go, freezer door swung all the way open? And you're
Tiny
like,
apartment.
busted.
You live in a... No.
For Ariana Grande CDs, you don't need those.
He did look in the box a little suspiciously, but he took it back.
I bet your picture is like posted up in every major retailer in the U.S.
This guy's shady. I do worry because I know that Target and Amazon, they keep track of how many returns you do.
Yeah.
And if you hit a threshold, they will put a kibosh to it.
Yeah, you get on a list.
Yeah.
Oh, man, if you're a listener and you're on any like do not allow return list, reach out and let us know what the limit was. Let us know what you did that got you on that list.
Yeah.
So we know just what to fall shy of.
Yeah, I would like to know what that amount is. I don't think I would hit it, but yeah, sure. It's like I really don't care.
Stick it to the man.
Stick it to the corporation.
There you go.
So I did something super gay this week.
Great.
Saw Madonna on Thursday.
Wait, what?
Saw Madonna on Thursday. Went and saw Madonna. You know Madonna?
Yeah, I've heard of her.
Musical icon, gay icon.
What percentage of the audience was gay men of a certain age?
There was...
You know what age I mean.
It was a subdued crowd.
Oh, yes.
I was surprised.
Standing or sitting?
I stood the whole time. I was on the floor. But like people weren't, I was a little surprised. First of all, okay, she's fantastic. She's 64. And I think the reason you're acting surprised is because you didn't know this.
Yeah.
I decided not to tell you. I was like, maybe I'll save this for the pod. I don't feel like it's really like that kind of story. But then like, here we are. So, but she was fantastic.
I think you relish any opportunity to keep a little secret.
I enjoy being a bit of a mystery.
So you were standing, were you dancing?
Yeah, not moshing, but yeah, dancing appropriately to each era.
But then the people behind you were resting their achy backs and knees.
Well, she got in a little bit of trouble. I don't know if you saw. I'm sure you didn't see this
No.
because you don't go online to
I haven't
anything.
heard a thing.
So she was giving this person grief. She did it in our audience too. Like if she would say something and we wouldn't give her enough celebration, she'd be like, "Listen, I know I'm a little egotistical, but I need to hear it, guys," and like get us to get us riled up.
That's like us. We make Al do that. He's giving us a lot of cheers and thumbs up off cam.
Al's his own whole thing with this podcast now because I'm constantly looking at Al in the corner of my eye to see if he laughs at something, if his shoulders shake, if he's like relating or what's going on with him. He's the silent...
Last episode, he got like swept up in doing magic eye puzzles on his computer and he wasn't giving us anything. And we were like, are we tanking? And then like when the episode ended, he was like, I've been looking at magic eye puzzles for the past 25 minutes.
I know. I would like make a joke and he wouldn't move and I'd look over and he's just cross-eyed staring at his laptop. I'm like, Al? But Madonna, she'll give the audience some grief. She's earned it. This is a concert tour celebrating 4 decades of music.
Absolutely.
You think about her and her contemporaries in the 80s. She is always usually clumped into the 80s. Michael Jackson, gone. Prince, gone. George Michael, gone. They're all gone.
Yeah.
And she's still here, still just rocking it. But she had one little kerfluff this week that went viral online where she was giving grief to someone in the audience because they were sitting. She's like, come on, what are you doing sitting down, blah, blah. The guy was in a wheelchair.
Oh, no.
She's like, okay. She's like, that's okay then. Like, I mean, clearly a honest mistake, but like, of course people will jump on that and be like, how dare grandma yell at the guy in the wheelchair or whatever.
That's a little funny. That's why you never pressure anybody in the audience of a show to stand up.
Yeah, let him sit. If
Have I told this story on the pod about when I was at the Bellagio fountains with my grandma?
No.
We would do these family trips to Vegas when I was like 10, 11, 12. We did them for several years with like my whole family. It's a lot of women in my family. So like my aunts and cousins and like a group of 10 of us. And we were at the Bellagio fountains and my grandma could walk. She was, in her 70s, but she could walk. So she had a wheelchair just like to get around the strip. Because Vegas, it's like it's so much walking. So just for like ease and convenience, really, we were pushing around a wheelchair. And we were stopped at the Bellagio fountains to like watch the fountain show. And she was sitting down watching the show. And then she kind of wanted to get a better look. So she stood up out of the wheelchair like during like the fountain crescendo. And people around us were like, oh, like they thought like the fountain show was like healing her and giving her the power to walk again.
The spray of the fountain brought life back to her legs.
That
I love
tainted
that.
water like had healing powers. And I got a big kick out of that. Even as like an 11-year-old, I was like dying laughing. It was so funny.
She gets a big round of applause.
Yeah, really.
Lifts the wheelchair up, throws it in the fountain. That's awesome.
Yeah,
that's
that
a
was
good
super
story.
fun. Shout out to Nana, rest in peace.
Oh God, I'll cut that
Does
out.
anyone have grandmas anymore? Come on, we're all old.
I don't. I am the grandma. I am the grandma now.
I am grandma now. Cool reference, Captain Phillips. I am grandma now.
I am grandma now.
We are recording this on Oscar night, so that's appropriate. Guinness, what a fun brand I know nothing about. I did not know about any correlation with the world records that we mentioned at the very top. It's funny, have you ever had a beer? I've never had a beer.
So I was going to say, it's very funny that we're doing an alcoholic beverage. You and I are not drinkers.
We're not drinkers, and we're certainly not beer babes.
We're not beer babes. And we're not drinkers for no other reason than we just don't drink.
Not
like
yummy,
I never
no.
Well, of course me related to my past life, and I died when I was a young girl, and I have the taste buds of a child. But other than that, we don't drink for any particular reason.
Yeah, I feel like it's just not. I'd rather have like a milkshake.
Yeah, I definitely would rather have a milkshake or a Frosty or a Diet Coke. But I thought it would be fun. I was like, it's St. Patrick's Day. What's not too on the nose? I knew very little about Guinness. I researched it for over 8 hours yesterday alone. I now feel like
Are you normally like with people? Do you normally have a team?
No, I do have a researching team. That's how my shows are so thought out. No, it's like usually like we each have 2 weeks to put a show together.
Yeah.
I'll do an hour one night, a little bit here, a little bit there. So I will tinker around with it. But then last night was really like, oh, I've waited till the end.
It's crunch time.
It was crunch time. I thought I could do it from like 11 to 3. And then all of a sudden it was 5. And then it was like 7.
Wow.
Now 8. And now it's time change. I got to go to bed. It's 3 in the morning. Oh, it was a lot.
Well, we admire your work ethic. You didn't win an Emmy for nothing.
Thank you. I appreciate that. And please stop bringing up the Emmy. It's humiliating. I don't want people to know about that.
Did you have a Guinness in preparation for this episode?
I have 2 in the fridge.
Oh my God.
We're going to take a little pause and we're going to pour them. And I don't listen. Guinness is a lot. It's a lot of rules. They have spreadsheets on how to pour it, on how to store it, on what temperature it should be. When I'm pouring it now, I'm not supposed to let the can touch the glass, and it has to be a 45-degree angle. And
doesn't it have a little thing rattling around inside?
We will definitely get to the widget. Don't you worry.
There's like a D&D dice rattling around in there.
There's a lot of people think it's a ping pong ball. Guinness to this day still gets calls from people that are like, "There's something in here. What is this?" All freaked out about it. So we're going to pause. I'm going to pour this, and then we'll get to the show.
Okay.
Cheers, everybody. We all now have our own Guinness. Alistair is actually a Guinness fan. Marissa and I are novels. So you said, don't drink the foam. It's too bitter. Just get to the liquid.
How do you get to the liquid?
I think just I don't know.
I have to pierce it with my nose.
We need a straw.
Oh, God. Oh,
that's not bad. That's much better than I feel like than most beers I've tasted.
You like beer?
I don't like beer. I've only been drunk. I think I've been drunk 4 times. 3 times in college, 3 weekends in a row. I feel like every time I've gotten drunk, it's been as a favor for somebody. Because I so don't drink, and people are always like, I want to see you drunk. And I'll drink, and I feel like I'm forcing myself to get drunk, and I'm like, I'm drunk. And then I just giggle for like a half hour, and then I feel normal, and then it's over. But this is smooth and creamy. I don't care about it. I'm not like, God, now I'm a Guinness boy, but I could see why people would like it.
Maybe if you had to pick a beer, maybe your beer is Guinness.
I do think it is a separate thing. I think it's, my friend Christine was explaining to me, it's like Guinness it's kind of its own choice.
It tastes different than like I've had maybe like 1 sip of beer in my life. This
really?
is number 2.
That's it?
And it was like a yellow beer. So I've had yellow now. I've had brown. The 2 kinds of beer, yellow and brown.
Yellow and brown.
I don't know which one I like.
This isn't bad.
Better. Oh, it's so gross to me.
Are you drinking the foam?
I can't not drink the foam.
Babe, it said don't drink the foam. That's why you're not liking it. It's so bitter.
On top. Ugh. Yuck. Al, you mentioned that you had been to the Guinness factory.
Yeah.
Do you have any thing you want to share on that? Tell us that story.
Al, tell us about the factory. It's the number 1 tourist attraction in Italy.
In Italy?
I'm thinking about Olive Garden.
Why are you thinking about Olive Garden?
Because it sounds good.
You actually said Italy because you're craving Olive Garden?
I don't know why I said Italy. Actually, it must have been that, though. That's the
you're
only time.
Drunk.
I do feel like I'm getting tipsy just from this 1 sip of Guinness.
This is a strong beer, isn't it? Like alcohol volume wise? Like, is this more alcoholic than like a Coors?
No, I don't know, Mar. I did so much research. I didn't compare the alcohol volumes of other drinks. Yeah, like I said, we're not beer drinkers. We're doing a beer episode. I wanna throw out a disclaimer. There's a lot of terms in the beer world. It's like wine. There's so much to it. I'm trying to learn it all in a day. So if I mispronounce something, I apologize. If I miss some obvious things, I apologize. I try to do my best. There's just
don't eviscerate John on Instagram if he pronounces hops wrong.
Hops. You know, I've never known what hops are. And I finally yesterday Googled hops just so I would know what hops are.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we're doing this beer. So what is Guinness? Ask me, what is Guinness?
Okay. John, what is Guinness?
I love that you asked that. I know you're going to think I'm going to say it's a beer. It's an old beer from Ireland. It's so much more than that. It's inspiration. It's tenacity. It's science. It's innovation. It's microbiology. It's revolutionary. It's game-changing. It's complicated.
Wow. Okay. Tell me more.
Okay, I will. So the Guinness we're drinking now is a stout. What's a stout?
What's a stout?
I'm glad you asked. Both porters and stouts are dark roasted ales. An ale is a yellow beer. Mm-hmm. And that is what Guinness originally started making for the first 20 or 30 years. And this is this is what blew my mind researching this episode, and maybe it's just obvious to everybody. Guinness started in 1759. Guinness started before America existed.
Wow.
That's how old this brand is. Like, It's crazy. I was looking at a picture of Arthur Guinness. It's so old. It's a painting. It looks like it's like a painting of George Washington. He's got like a powdered wig. I was like, this is old. This is like this story. That's like wasn't lying like in the intro. This is a long story.
Yeah, no wonder.
So they're famous for making these stouts. Stouts are characterized by their thick and creamy head, and Guinness is probably the world's best known stout. The difference between a port and a stout is that a stout usually uses unmalted roasted barley. See, it's just all these things. Mm-hmm. To me, those are words. I'm sure in the beer community, it's like, yes, of course, we use this kind of barley for this, and we do this for that.
Sure.
And this. I drink Diet Coke and water pretty much exclusively. I know nothing about what's in them.
In the Diet Coke community, you don't have this is like roasted aspartame.
I wish, like artisanal Diet Cokes.
Yeah.
I would go to Atlanta to have a Diet Coke. I mean, that would be fun to have it from the source like people do with Guinness.
Straight from the nipple.
Straight from the teat. But even if you ask like someone that's into Guinness, like their definition of Guinness is going to vary because there's several different kinds. Some of them are more popular in America. The one we're drinking now, the draft stout, is the most popular one in America, but you've got foreign extra stout, you've got extra stout. There's just a bunch of different kinds. So, and they all, are favored in different places. So it's a complicated question, like I said, but let's get started with the guy that invented it all, Arthur Guinness. He was born in 1725. That's 300 years ago next year.
They had nearly nothing.
Actually, they seem to be doing pretty well.
What year did Game of Thrones take place?
That's Game of Thrones isn't in
I know, but
Earth's timeline.
If you had to say.
That's like Star Wars, like in a galaxy far, far away a long time ago. God, I said that so wrong. Now all the Star Wars are like, I'm drunk. I keep drinking this. I'm like, this is not bad. This is okay.
And you're like, I don't even really get drunk.
It's like I was telling Marissa. It's like I was telling Marissa a minute ago. It's fine. I just don't know when I would drink it. Like, is this with a pizza? Maybe. I feel like it'd be good with pizza. Let's go to the bar. We'll return with On Brand next week.
Hi, this is Chris Howard, host of Plugged In with Chris Howard. BetOnline is the world's most trusted betting platform and your number one source for all your sports betting action. BetOnline has more ways to stay in on the action with the latest odds, news, scores, even live in-game betting while the games are being played. With the largest selection of odds on everything from Major League Baseball, NHL, and UFC, and professional golf, BetOnline remains the number one source for all your sports wagering info. In between games, head over to the BetOnline's casino with all the top Vegas-style games, including poker and live casino. BetOnline, the game starts here.
Are you looking for a new job or want a career change? Look no further than Monster.com. Need a little help standing out? Our expert resume writing services will make sure you shine. Want to brush up on your interview skills? Engage with our AI interview prep tool. Want some advice on negotiating your new salary? Visit our salary tools and extensive library of career advice articles, and you'll have all the tips and tricks you'll need to succeed. Visit Monster.com today and take the first step towards your career. Monster.com. Find your right job fit.
Okay, Arthur Guinness. He was born 299 years ago.
This is going to be a silly one. I can already tell. This is our first drunk ep.
I can already feel. So he's 34 years old. The 7 Years' War is going on. Don't ask me what it is. I know you want to, but it caused a lot of economic upsets in Ireland. Banks collapsed. But the biggest thing that came out of it for him was a lot of land became available cheaply, which very much benefited him. God, am I drunk? So Guinness finds this abandoned brewery called the St. James Gate. It had been abandoned for about 9 years.
Whoa.
It was on 4 acres. It had a brew house. Here come some of the terms. It had a grist mill. What's that? It's where you grind the grains. 2 malt houses. What's that? It's where cereal grain is converted into malt by soaking it in water. Good God. It's so much work. It had stables. That's where you keep horses.
We know what that is.
I knew what that one was. I didn't have to Google it. So he signs this notorious lease for this place for 9,000 years.
Everything about this, it's like, what a time that you could stumble upon acres of land with an abandoned brewery that's like close enough to functioning that you're like, well, I wasn't planning on getting into beer, but it's all here.
It's all here. I guess I'll make an iconic brand. Okay.
Okay, signing a lease, 9,000 years. Everything about this is so downright silly so far.
Yeah, and when does he sign it? New Year's Eve. Like, who's doing business on New Year's Eve? At the strike of midnight, I signed my 9,000-year lease. December 31st, 1759, he puts down a deposit of $100. That's $25,000 today, which is, a good amount of money, especially back then. And then he agrees to pay 45 pounds a year for those 9,000 years. At that time, that's about $11,000 a year.
And that's pretty good.
That's really good for 4 acres and all those buildings. Just a little side note, the lease is no longer in effect because they ended up expanding the property, and
that's fair.
It's no longer, but it is of legend, and it's something that they enjoy.
That's fun, yeah.
So it takes him 10 years to send out his first export. That happens on May 19th, 1769.
10 years? He really did not know how to make beer.
Babe, beer's not like putting together a milkshake. You got to let things age in barrels. You got to experiment. You got to go to the grist mill. You got to go to the I don't know why you need the staples, to be quite honest. I guess maybe that's how they got around.
That's very encouraging, though. If you're 9 years into a failing invention, keep at it.
One more year.
One more year.
Just give it one more year. I felt like 10 years is a reasonable amount of time to like experiment with recipes and stuff.
Yeah, I just imagine his wife just like, back to the stable, are ya? Back to the grist mill?
She's not on board.
No,
Takes
never.
him 10 years. His first shipment he sends out is 6.5 barrels that he sends on a sailing vessel to England. And like I was saying earlier, this is very different than the Guinness that I'm getting drunk on right now. It would have been like basically a lighter ale. That's what was more popular at the time. I'm slurring. That was what was more popular at the time. And then people are like, why?
Bottoms up, John.
This is what I'm saying. In like 30 minutes, I'll just be back to normal. But that was the beer that was popular at the time. So then give it like 10, 20 years, brewers started to play around with using a smoky brown malt, which at that point had been considered kind of like the low rent malt.
Interesting.
But they're like, let's see what happens with this malt. They make a brew from that, and it's muddy and disgusting. And they're like,
okay.
well. And they're like, you know what? This sucks. What if we put it in an oak barrel and just leave it alone for a year, year and a half?
That's a long game experiment.
Let's see what happens then.
That also makes me think of it. You know what I love is like fun facts like that lobsters were like food for peasants back in the day.
I love stuff like that.
Don't you love that? This is kind of how that was. It was like this was like peasant malt.
Yeah, they took trash malt, roasted trash malt.
Left it in a garbage pail for a year.
Just leave it alone. Should I go? It's been 6 months. Nope. I got a feeling. Leave it for a year and a half.
Yeah.
They do that, and they create a drink that becomes quite good. So Guinness starts playing around with this whole idea. The local folks love it so much that by 1799, his son, Arthur Guinness II, he says, let's just stop brewing ales altogether, and let's just focus on these stouts. This is the wave of the future.
Yeah, stand out from the crowd.
Stand out from the crowd.
I love that.
1801, Arthur Guinness II introduces the Foreign Extra Stout. That's one of the ones I talked about. That's one of the most popular Guinnesses to this day. It had a different name at the time, but now it's called the Foreign Extra Stout. And that is the longest continually brewed recipe in the history of Guinness. They've been making that since 1801.
That is crazy.
It's whatever that is, 225 years. So we're at 1803. Spoiler, Arthur Guinness is about to die.
Oh, no.
Before he dies, I just want to say that him and his heirs were
Fell in a hop mill.
got grist milled to death, got fermented. No, let's have respect for the dead.
Yes.
I just want to say Arthur Guinness.
Kicked by a horse.
At the stable. That's what the stable is for, to kill Arthur Guinness. Him and his heirs were very generous humanitarians involved with everything from housing the poor to supporting the Irish troops during the wars. They would ensure that veterans would have jobs when they came back from the war. They just did a lot for Ireland and for their community.
Love that.
Get this, they gave £150,000 towards restoring St. Patrick's Cathedral in Dublin.
Wow.
That today is $25 million.
That's great.
Yeah, so they did a lot. Guinness was also the first company to offer employees benefits. They made sure they had on-site medical and dental. Everyone got 2 free pints after every shift.
That's cute.
I know, right?
That's
like
cute.
they just kind of cared about their people, which I thought was great. And Guinness consistently paid his employees 20% more than anyone else.
Wow,
So
that's great.
They were good guys.
And all the beer you can guzzle. Are you searching the job pages to get a job there now that you're a beer babe?
Yeah, I'm gonna head to the closest Guinness brewery. Hold on, I need just one more quick sip. That foamy.
If you make it to the bottom of this pint,
I'm gonna finish this Guinness. It's my goal. All right, so then at 78, Arthur passes away. Arthur Guinness II steps into his place. 1821, I know these are a lot of years. We'll get past the years, but 1821, he creates the Guinness Extra Superior Port, and he sets down a precise instructions for how to brew this beer known as Guinness Extra Superior Port. It was sharp and crisp and had that trademark Guinness flavor, and every Guinness that you can enjoy, including the one that we're enjoying now, can be traced back to that beer.
Wow.
We're still very different than the beer we're at now, but it had the seedlings of the beer. And like, you think about that, like you try to think about the history of some of these things. I'm like, oh yeah, they made this beer. And like, we know it as we know it now. Then I found like, they're like, this is one of the earliest etchings of Guinness and his beers. And I'm like, etchings? And it's like, he's got like a grog mug. It's just so different.
It's
than
so
like,
different.
It's like peasant world. And like, it's just.
it's Game of Thrones times.
It is. Yeah. You're obsessed with something that's
There
been.
are dragons.
How disappointing was that last season of Game of Thrones? Right? Remember there was an episode that we literally couldn't see?
In total darkness.
It was total darkness for 58 minutes.
It was such like we were in like a collective hypnosis though, where like it felt like bad to criticize this show that meant so much to us.
I know. It was the same thing with Lost. It was like we invested so much in it and we loved it so much. And then we're like, this is how it ends. And it's like, okay.
I hate when they do that.
I know.
Glug, glug, glug.
Glug. Gotta wet my whistle to get through this next part, which I call the trademark.
Ooh.
So here we are, 1862. A harp and Arthur Guinness's signature makes its first appearance on a Guinness beer label and was officially registered in the trademark office in 1876. What I love about this is the Trademarks Registration Act. Like the law of even having a trademark.
Wow.
Came out in 1875. They're one of the first trademarks because it literally began a year before they even did it.
That is wild.
I just love how old this thing is.
That's really fun.
So the interesting thing about the harp, if you look on the can, it's very prominently displayed. The harp on the Guinness logo is as historic as the company itself. It's known as the Brian Boru harp or the Trinity College harp.
Okay.
It's a medieval musical instrument and thought to have been made in the 1400s. We don't know where it was made. We don't know who made it. We don't know for whom it was made.
What?
It was likely made for a member of a very important family because it's made so well and intricately. And over its 700 years, it has traveled to multiple countries. It's been in possession of popes and kings. It's been stolen, buried in the sand, found. It's been restored. It's been played. And for the last 200 years, it has lived a quiet life in the library of Trinity College in Dublin and has become an iconic symbol of Ireland.
Wow, that sounds like a juicy movie. I feel like
who would play?
Well, it just feels like it should be a series in the Da Vinci Code franchise.
It's a movie we make ourselves, but then would they just slap on the Da Vinci Code to it like they do with those Cloverfield movies?
Yes.
Oh, that drives me crazy. I need a drink.
A drinking game. Every time something drives you crazy, you have to take a sip of Guinness.
Oh man, it's getting bitter. It's getting too warm. It needs to stay cold.
Yeah.
So clearly Guinness chose the harp because it was a symbol of its Irish roots, and the Guinness harp was one of the first trademarks in the UK. Now, a fun fact, when Guinness trademarked the harp, Ireland was still a part of the United Kingdom. It wasn't until 1922 that Ireland became its own state. So when they did that, everyone was like, well, we want to have the harp as our symbol. They ran into problems because Guinness is so old, it already had the harp as its symbol. And they're like, but it's kind of got to be. So the two entities came up with an agreement that they could both use it. Every time Guinness uses it, the harp would always face right. And every time it's used for the Republic of Ireland, the harp would always face left.
That's fair.
Fair.
That's really... Do you have to share your symbol like with a country?
I know. I just love that the country can't get it because a beer already has it.
Yeah.
It's older than Ireland being like free. It's just like...
That's funny.
It's so many things.
That's cute.
Yeah, so I thought that was a fun fact. All right, now we're going to jump into slightly more modern times, only 100 years ago. It's 1929. It's popular enough, it's selling about 2 million pints a day at this point.
That's a lot of pints. 2,000,001 with you on the scene.
Oh, man. I wish I could go back in time just so I could have a 1929 pint.
That's right.
All right, now here we go. The 1950s.
Ooh.
This is a big decade for Guinness.
Okay.
Okay, so we've got this guy. His name.
Yeah, are you okay? Everything okay over there?
Sir Hugh Beaver.
Beaver as a last name.
Hugh. Beaver. Sir
Beaver.
Hugh Beaver.
Sir.
He's a sir.
Wow.
Knighted.
Wow.
Sir Hugh Beaver,
Uh-huh.
managing director of Guinness, goes on a hunting trip. Doesn't go well. Doesn't get what he wants.
Oh.
Doesn't shoot a lot of animals. Comes back to the hunting party. I guess it was what they call it, and everyone...
hunting party?
Everyone's talking. Yeah, the hunting
I shot a deer. I shot a tiger. I shot a lion. And he's like, I shot myself in the tush.
What?
In my mind, if a hunting trip doesn't go well, you shot yourself in the tush.
When did you become so obsessed with butts? How would he have shot himself in the butt?
I'm just thinking of a hunting trip not going well.
I'm picturing rifle, so that's making it very complicated to shoot my own tush.
Yeah, I guess you might dislocate your shoulder in the process of that. Yeah, good point.
Thank you.
Sat on the gun? I don't know. I've never been hunting. Do I seem like a hunter? I don't know what happens.
I need a drink. So he's at this hunting party. You know how it is back then.
Yeah.
All the guys are talking about what they shot. And he's like, oh, man, I didn't get anything. I was trying to shoot me one of those golden plovers. It's a bird. He's like, I'm telling you, that's got to be the fastest bird in the world. And his other hunting buddies are like, you're an idiot. There's no way that's the fastest bird. The fastest bird would be the roadrunner. And someone else is like, did I hear you say the fastest bird's the roadrunner? It's clearly the insert other bird here. A big hoo-ha. What's the fastest bird? And old huge Beaver's like, I'm going to find out. He couldn't find the information anywhere.
No Google.
Looks up in all the reference books in the library, because they all had libraries back then. Couldn't figure out what the fastest bird was. His answer to that, create a book that has all the records in it. Let's put together a book. He hires a couple of researchers.
He hires researchers. That would have been you back in the day.
I know. I would have been at the top of the list. I also did see things that say he had interns do it. I don't know which it is. Maybe the interns were
That's
researchers.
very funny.
Gets these people. He's like, look, I want you to put together a book that just has a bunch of facts in it. They're like, we're on it. They do an initial research pass, probably figuring out what categories would be, whatever.
They set out all the birds in the world to race.
Yeah. It would be so different then. I don't know how they would have gotten all their information.
I don't know.
And I don't have a copy of the first one to see what was in it. That would be fun to get. And maybe a brand freak will send it to us. We'll give you our P.O. box. And then I love how specific they were. They were like, he hired some fact-finding researchers who spent 13 and a half 90-hour weeks, including weekends and bank holidays, to create the book.
Not bank holidays.
Bank holidays.
Wow.
Hugh Beaver called it the Guinness Book of Records. We're not at world records yet.
Okay.
The Guinness Book of Records.
It'd be funny if he was so narrow-minded. It was like the Guinness Book of the fastest birds. Bird speeds categorized.
And other things.
It's like, no, it could be of like anything, like records about anything. And he's like, you get a promotion.
He had 1,000 of them printed, gave them to pubs for free to give out to people.
That's fine.
Had their name on the front of it. One of their earliest marketing campaigns. Very similar to what happened with, was it Richard May who wrote Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer in the Santa Claus episode? That Montgomery Wards gave out that book for free at Christmas for people, just so it would keep the name of the brand in people's minds.
This is like the earlier version of like a viral video.
Yeah, basically. He wanted people at the pubs to have a way to settle the debates that frequently happen after a pint.
People, so they have a few pints and they were frequently arguing about, well, who do you think's got the world's longest toenails? There's only one way to settle this.
Oh, it's got to be my mother-in-law.
378. Oh, my mother-in-law is in there. That's really funny.
What's funny is also after they gave us 1,000 for free, he ended up selling the book. And by Christmas that year, it was a bestseller. Like the book just went wild. Everyone
that is
loved
a fun
it.
book.
So you know how I said the 50s was very big for Guinness. We've already got the Guinness Book of World Records. Now, the next big thing happens. The draft Guinness is first introduced. That may not sound like a big deal. For a company that has now been around for exactly 200 years, it is a huge shift in what is going on there. And just to give you context of this is insane. This is insane. Like Guinness is insane.
Okay.
So let's just give some context to how up until this point, bartenders had to deal with Guinness. So for years and years, bars could serve Guinness beer in one of two ways. Either the brewery sent beer to the bars and they would have to bottle it themselves.
Okay.
Or the brewery would send each pub 2 casks of Guinness beer. One was fresh and lively barrel from the brewery that had a bunch of carbonation in it, and one was called a flat or stale cask that had the same flavors and aroma, but it didn't have any carbonation in it. And the bartender had to blend those two things together to make the perfect beer.
Oh,
it was a 2-part pour system that was an integral part of the Guinness history.
That's a lot.
It's so much.
That's so much.
I need a drink. It's just like, what are you thinking? Like, make it easier. We get it. You're special. But
I mean, yeah, that seems like a lot of work.
You know what that seems like it could be? A Hazinga.
That might be a Hazinga.
That might be a Hazinga. Okay, everything's about to change because in the world of bars now, everyone is moving to this one keg system. Everyone, because no one else has this 2-pour part.
So somebody had the idea, like, could we mix them at the factory and then send them in one keg?
Yeah. Yes, they did, Marissa. They're like, okay, now everyone's using one keg. What are we going to do? We need to use one keg.
Yeah.
They spent 5 years and
oh my God.
unlimited money trying to solve this problem. Did they?
Yes.
They did. And we're drinking it now, kind of.
This is why we'll never be this successful, because we would quit so much earlier.
I thought about that with the Guinness Book of Records. I'd be like, I don't know what bird's the fastest. To be honest, I don't care.
Can we move on?
Let's move on.
Let's eat that lion you just killed. The lion's getting cold.
When's the lion going to be ready?
A lion on like a rotisserie spit. It's like Maine.
Me just standing with my brioche bun. I've already mustarded it. Lion, please.
A medieval Ziploc bag in your purse to take home extra lion. Sneak the leg when no one's looking. Nibbling on the tail in the car on the way home. We could go for hours.
The tail gets so crispy. Okay, so they've got this conundrum. How are we going to do this? We have to stay relevant with what everyone else does. They end up doing it. They create this one keg that has 2 parts. Half of it has beer. The other half has part CO2, carbonation, and nitrogen.
Okay.
I know that doesn't sound exciting to someone like you and me, but at the time, it's a very exciting development.
Well, there on the can, I had read this when I was studying the can. It said nitrogenated for smoothness.
Yeah, we're about to get to that can. Don't you worry.
Nitrogenation.
We are like, you're drunk.
What is nitrogenation?
Babe, we're like 5 sentences away from the can. Let's just finish the bar. So they create this new 2-part keg system. It fundamentally changes the texture and flavor of Guinness because nitrogen bubbles are much smaller than carbonated bubbles. We've all know what a carbonated bubble looks like. You pour a Sprite, you've got these big bubbles splashing everywhere.
Yeah.
Nitrogen, very fine bubbles. It helps give it its creamier and smoother consistency, and they launch Draft Guinness.
Could I get like a LaCroix with like nitrogen bubbles?
I bet.
Did they put nitrogen? Can you put it in anything?
I think.
Sometimes a big bubble is a little too aggressive, like a Topo Chico. I find those bubbles to be like borderline violent in my mouth.
Yeah, it's like they're attacking me.
Yes.
I'm sure I've told you I use Topo Chicos to make Grape Crush.
What?
I use Topo Chicos to make Grape Crush.
Say more.
I use Topo Chicos.
Okay.
So, like, you can buy, like where you've got, like, the powdered things that you add to, like, waters.
Oh, yeah. You're not going to, like, a beverage distributor.
No, I don't go to, like, a beverage
to
distributor.
get, like, syrup.
With a 12-pack of Topachinos. No, you can get the little packets that you put in water, but I put them in a Topachino.
Topachino.
What are they called?
Topo Chico. You sound like an aunt who's like... Hey, honey, do we have any of those Topachinos?
I don't know what they're called.
You're
anyway,
a kooky aunt.
It's like you can create any soda you want.
I love that. That's a great life hack. What brand do you use of flavor in case somebody wants to make a Jon? Well, that's what we'll call a
Crush.
It's like Grape Crush brand?
Grape Crush branded powder.
Powder.
Yeah.
And this is just at any supermarket across America?
Yeah.
You don't order this online?
You can get it at Target. You can get it at Walmart.
Why not just buy Grape Crush?
But that's actually should be the first question. Al asked a great question. Why not just buy Grape Crush?
I'm so glad you asked that.
Can't believe I didn't ask that.
Yeah, you're drunk. You're off your game.
One zip.
The reason I don't just buy Grape Crush is because Grape Crush is a sugar soda.
Oh.
The powder is sugarless, so I can make a sugar-free Grape Crush.
They don't make Diet Grape Crush?
They don't, and I think I've mentioned this on pod. I've written to Crush and suggested it. And they said, thank you for what a great suggestion. We're right on top of that. That was like 12 years ago.
Are you in a Facebook group that's like petition to make Grape Crush diet version?
I should reach out to them and see if there's been any movement on that. And I need to write hostess too. I need to make a list.
We have some follow-ups, some corporate follow-ups.
All right. So the Draft Guinness, huge, huge success. For the next 30 years, that's what bars are doing. They're doing it from the tap like everybody else.
Great.
Then Guinness is like, you know what? I wish that people at home could have the same experience. We need to be able to make a draft beer they can have at home. 1988, they introduced Draft Guinness in a can. Now we're going to get to the little ping pong ball inside of our can. The ping pong ball that
I
people...
hope that sound wasn't scary.
I hope
Anybody who was listening, like if you were driving and you heard this, you don't think like somebody's like on your roof trying to like get in your car. Don't want to scare anybody.
So they're like, how can we do this? How can we make that creamy taste that we are so obsessed with?
Easy.
We have perfected in the bars and have that happen when you crack it open. Well, what they came up with was the widget, which is a small ball containing nitrogen.
I feel like we haven't settled on like a true definition of widget. I feel like a lot of people are calling a lot of things widgets.
That's a great point. How many, there's computer widget, right?
The widgets are the little like things that can pop up or like zip around your computer. I feel like Apple tried to like make the widget theirs. I hear widget being thrown around a lot.
You've mentioned 2, and this is the 3rd. So I feel like...
I guess this was technically the 2nd.
I call my child widget, and...
Al, have you heard of other widgets?
Yeah, I feel like...
See, we feel like we have.
Al is always on your side. I could be like, Al, have you heard of other widgets?
Nah.
So ridiculous. Well, this is a very special widget. And some people thought that they were putting nitrogen in the widget, and then it was this complicated thing. It's not as complicated as people thought. It's literally just a ball that has some holes in it. They put the nitrogen in the beer, and then they put the ball in the can.
Okay.
And then they seal the can.
Okay.
When the ball is in the can, it's got that little hole in it, and some of the nitrogen and beer goes into the widget. So it stays in there. And when you crack open that beer, it squirts it out with the rest of the beer and creates what they need to have the creamy, velvety thing.
Because of like the pressure or something? Like
Yes,
whatever beer is inside the ball like spurts out?
That's like honestly, the smart. It is exactly because of the pressure. That's like the smartest you've ever been. And I'm not saying that like in an insulting way. Like that was like, you're a scientist.
You know what? I would love it if they made a clear can so we could see what's going on in there.
I wouldn't mind seeing that widget squirt.
Yeah, me either. I'm on to you, widget. Because I was wondering, like, if you drank all your beer, if you could cut it open and take out the widget and then suck the beer out that's, like, left inside.
Babe, you are no longer a scientist. Now you're just a bar floozy.
It's interesting. That sounds patented.
Well, not only is it patented, in 1991, it won the Queen's Award for Technological Achievement.
Best widget goes to...
Best Technological Achievement, beating out the internet. The internet. Everyone in Ireland voted. They picked this as the best achievement.
What year?
1991.
God, I love that.
I mean, granted, the internet was very fresh at the time.
Well, I think in hindsight, I don't know. What invention has done the world better? Maybe this.
Than the Guinness widget?
Maybe the widget did the world better than the internet overall.
Well, let's just say I wouldn't even know about the widget without the internet. So it's like, which came first?
Which came first? There you go. Widget came first.
Widget came first. So there you go.
Wow, I love that.
Yeah, so there's the widget. Not only is Guinness the pride of Ireland, it is also now, as Alistair has mentioned, in the year 2000, they opened the Guinness Storehouse, which is a tourist destination. It's the top visited attraction in Ireland, over 1 million visitors a year. I feel like it's probably more than that by now. That could be an old fact. But you go there and it sounds super fun. They tell the story of Guinness. You get to do like, obviously, tastings and stuff. They have this famous bar called the Gravity Bar that's on top of the whole thing. You get 360-degree views of Dublin City. I didn't know this. The bar from the outside is meant to mimic the foam on top of a Guinness, which I thought...
Did you know that, Al? Was it cool? Did you go there?
Yeah, I've got pictures.
Oh, cool.
Ooh, we'll put one on
post
Insta.
That's fun. Did you taste a Guinness when you were there?
Mm-hmm.
Was it good?
Yeah.
Okay, there you go. His report, it was cool. It was good. He had a Guinness and he liked it. So if you're considering this, you're on your itinerary.
It's
Al,
good to know that Al is here. If
approval.
one of us is ever sick, that Al can step in and continue the story of On Brand. Then they gave us those stupid facts that drive, I think, both of us crazy.
Yeah, end to end would reach around the moon 600 times. Who cares?
The Gravity Bar is as tall as 300 pints of Guinness.
I mean, come on.
And it would take 2.6 million pints of Guinness to fill it.
Idiotic.
I don't care. Those things, I never know what to do with them.
Well, and also, like, I know what inches and, like, feet are, you know what I mean? So, like, I don't off the top of my head know, like, the length of a can or a pint. So it's like, use it in a unit of measurement that I'm more familiar with.
What would work for you?
Well, like, how many feet is it?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, jelly beans, end to end, like, wraps around the world, 1,000. It's like...
I know.
Yikes.
That's a lot of jelly beans, though, to wrap around the world.
It really would be. I'm dying to go to the Jelly Belly factory with you.
Oh, my God. I would love that so much. A fresh, warm belly. Like a warm.
Do you think it's warm? Like, I imagine like a chicken egg fresh out of the chicken. I've heard those are warm.
Oh, God. I was thinking like a Krispy Kreme, like something that's good warm. Now I don't want it if it's compared to like a warm chicken egg.
We recently looked up on YouTube where eggs, we know eggs come from chickens. I was going to say where eggs come from. We know eggs come from chickens, but we looked up on YouTube how chicken make egg.
Good God.
And like how they make the shell specifically. And let's just say the answer may horrify you. And the part of the chicken where the egg falls out is called the vent.
I honestly stopped listening to you as soon as you said warm chicken egg. You cannot talk about Guinness without talking about their advertising.
Oh, God, yeah.
Which for a bulk of their existence, they didn't really need to do a lot. I mean, I found a couple examples of very early advertising from like the late 1700s.
Oh, wow.
But for the most part...
Carved into the side of a castle.
Basically, yeah. But for the most part, they just relied on word of mouth for their advertising. Then in the 1930s, they started to have some sales slump, so they bring in a company called S.H. Benson, who had this artist named John Gilroy, and had a beautiful collaboration for decades with these people.
I feel like I must have seen these iconic
You definitely have.
Guinness
like
paintings.
He did a million where he had like animals. It was like a zookeeper,
Yes.
and he had like bright toucans. And
I was gonna say a toucan. It feels like this was of the time in 2000, like 2005 was maybe when like these posters were kind of trendy a little bit. Because
Totally.
I bought one I had an evil boyfriend then, and I bought one for him as a gift.
Shall we go into that?
I mean, of course.
And what made him evil?
He cheated on me for 2 years, and I knew about it. And
Your self-esteem was so low at
my
that time
self-esteem
that
was
you were
so
just like,
low.
I can't get better than him.
My self-esteem was so low that when he eventually did break up with me, I begged him to stay.
Personal hazinga.
I know.
A personal hazinga.
I know. Isn't that so evil?
No, you were young. We all go through
Yeah,
that. We
of
all
course.
feel like we don't deserve better.
I know. 2 years is a long time actively cheating. And to what era this was MySpace. I knew he was cheating via MySpace. I even drove him to cheat on me.
He's like, babe, I'm going to go cheat on you now. You're like, I'll take you. Then I'll hit the mall.
He didn't have a car, so I would have to drive him everywhere. And he was like going to a concert that he said I wasn't invited to. And I knew via his MySpace that he was going there to meet up with a girl. And I drove him and dropped him off at the House of Blues.
I have never heard this story.
That's really sad. Yeah, it's sad. But and he drank Guinness, and so I got him a Guinness poster with a toucan. I think it said something like "Have a Guinness" and a smile or something. One of those.
It probably said either Guinness for strength, lovely day for a Guinness, Guinness makes you strong. My goodness, my Guinness?
Yeah, it
Those
had a
are-
big toucan.
One of the first, actually the first tagline that the company that they hired came up with was called Guinness is good for you. And this tag was super successful, and it worked because at the time, doctors thought Guinness had medicinal properties in it. Up until the 1950s, in Irish hospitals, they would give mothers a Guinness after giving birth because of the high iron content,
Oh, how
which
funny.
I don't think it even has, if I remember correctly. But it was just,
It's not on here.
it's like back in the day, like cigarettes and all that stuff. It's like, yeah, they're good for you.
Stick a cigar in the baby's mouth, make its lungs strong.
Yeah. And they did that for like decades
That's
until
wild.
like advertising got to a point where you could no longer make like medical claims with certain things and the rules got a lot tighter.
Boo.
Boo. One of the most unique and interesting marketing things they did, in my opinion, in 1959 For the bicentennial anniversary, the brewery took a bunch of empty Guinness bottles and put notes inside of them from Neptune, the god of the sea, and tossed them into the Atlantic Ocean. And apparently these bottles are still turning up to this day.
Whoa, eBay.
Yeah, so it's like a 80-year-old
That would be
marketing campaign. I thought that was super cool.
That's really cool.
I'm not going to go too deep into it. They are also in the 60s started doing television commercials, which became also very successful. They very often won awards for them. It gave them critical acclaim. There was one of them in 1999 called The Surfer, and it was named the best television commercial of all time.
Oh my God.
In a UK poll. And I watched a lot of these commercials. They were cool, but I'm not like, oh my God, what have I just watched?
I don't even think I know what that is. Like, I don't think I've ever seen this.
Yeah, there's a couple that are really interesting. The Black Pot commercial are very kind of like black and white and simply shot, but like witty and fun. And then they had one called The Island. There's a bunch of them that are really iconic and they're all on YouTube. So I
cool.
highly suggest checking those out. I did have a handful of fun facts. One thing I thought was interesting was the St. James Gate Brewery has been using its own strain of yeast for over 100 years to give it that distinct Guinness taste. They keep reserves of it in different places in case anything happens. They would be able to be up and running within hours. This reminded me of, we went to Hawaii in like 2019 and we went to this
a pineapple farm.
And in the middle of we like took like a tractor around and looked at all the pineapples. And in the middle of it, there was like this square of like all these different pineapples. And we were told that it was basically every type of pineapple in the world. And like they're in more than one place, they plant one of each type of pineapple somewhere. So in the off chance that someone's crop is completely destroyed, they could go there and get their pineapple and restore their thing, which I find so interesting.
That would be a really funny like move for like Bane to do, is like take out all the world's rare pineapples.
And then at the end, he's holding that last reserve pineapple and he just crushes it.
Yeah,
I love
drinks
it.
the juice.
This is kind of a common fact, but everyone thinks Guinness is a black beverage. It's actually a very dark ruby red beverage.
Red? You're calling this red?
It is red.
Oh, you're calling
that
it
is
red.
What is said. It is red.
Wow. I get what color is Coca-Cola? It's very Coca-Cola.
I think Coca-Cola is probably also very
also
dark red. Yeah.
This looks so much like a Coke. It's crazy. It's crazy.
It's crazy.
That gives me an idea. If I want to seem cool at a bar, I should ask for Coke in a Guinness glass, in a pint glass with no ice. And then people will think I'm like a real cool gal, like a beer babe.
But they wouldn't even know what you could put anything in it because they can't see in it. Would you have to pour it?
No, it would look like a Guinness, like a big Guinness glass, like you have, like a pint glass.
Oh,
but it's Coca-Cola with no ice, so it looks like I'm drinking a big frothy Guinness.
That's so smart.
And everyone will think I'm so cool.
That's so smart.
Who are these people?
Is this for some business meeting with Ireland?
Next time I have a business meeting, I'm going to show up with several big, what they think are beers.
You're going to go the day before and be like, look, I'm going to come in tomorrow around 3. I'm going to be with 2 guys in suits.
They'll have suits and big briefcases full of money, and I really have to impress them.
Here's $10. This should cover the Coke and what I'm asking you to do.
I'm going to order a Guinness, and I'm going to wink, and you'll know what that means.
A Guinness sweet. I mean, neat.
Perfect crime.
I saw this in the year 2000. Guinness commissioned a study that found that an estimated 160,000 pints of stout are lost every year because of, any guesses?
Backs of trucks opening, spilling beer over road into ditches.
Facial hair.
What?
Soaked up in beards and
Ew.
mustaches. 160,000. And that was in 2000, so it's probably like 4 million now. 4 million pints of beer and dirty old beards.
I guess you could just like wring out your beard back in the glass. Save a dime.
You definitely could do that.
Alistair made a face.
Save a dime.
As a bearded man, do you how much beer is in your beard right now?
That's what I don't understand. Like none.
I'm not surprised that you were able to drink it cleanly.
Yeah, think about these. This is like a drunk Irishman.
Well, that's all I have on Guinness. I summed up, I think, almost 300 years in
Wow.
54 minutes.
No small feat. Chug the rest of your beer.
I'm going to chug the rest of my beer.
See, you
Give
look
me
so
another.
cool right now.
But yeah, that's Guinness. So
Wow.
that's St. Patrick's Day. If you're going to any St. Patrick's Day parties, hopefully I've given you a couple of nuggets that you can flick out to your friends and impress them.
And if you're the designated driver, use my trick of asking the bartender for Coca-Cola with no ice in a pint glass.
Just remember, you will have to go to the bar the day before and have a conversation with them. Bring $10 or Venmo.
Uh-huh.
And you'll be the
You'll
hit
be
of the
talk
party.
town.
You'll be the talk of the town. You'll be your own little leprechaun, I'd say.
That is a fun trick. Or, if you're a teenager, you don't want to be peer pressured into drinking. There's
Too
a lot of uses for this trick.
Couldn't you just substitute water for vodka? There seems like easier ways.
Yeah, I guess. But that doesn't involve a scheme. We always love a scheme.
Get a toppuccino.
Toppuccino. Well, John, if we're all wrapped up on Guinness, I will share with you a brand news.
Ooh, I love a new news.
So there is this new company called PathSpot, and this product is in 10,000 food service locations worldwide, 10,000 restaurants, including franchise Taco Bell, Arby's, and Chopped restaurants. And this could be a future just like mainstay in like restaurants across the board. This is a machine that detects the presence of germs on your hands.
Ooh.
After employees go poo-poo or pee-pee, wash their hands, they have to put their hands in this scanner.
Oh.
And if they fail their scan, they have to wash their hands again. And if they don't, an alert is sent to management.
Like text?
Like they'll get an alarm.
So they're at like the Ivy. They're like cutting their steak at the Ivy and they get a text. It's like, Billy has poo-poo hands.
Yeah, I think so. So this is
Wow.
interesting. So they were testing it out in some restaurants kind of as a pilot program. And now, this is like breaking news from a few days ago that this is going nationwide, 10,000 restaurants. They're calling it a lie detector, a poo-poo hand lie detector, I'll call it, but like a hand washing lie detector. And would this give you more confidence to eat at a restaurant knowing that the employees are passing the poo-poo hand challenge?
Now that you're saying this,
Yes.
and you have presented me with this question, I'm embarrassed to admit how little concern I currently have for that. Because for a couple of reasons.
Yes.
I am a man and I use a men's restroom, and I would say 60% of people I see not wash their hands.
Really? In public restrooms?
All the time.
Wow.
All the time. So I feel like I should be more concerned with it. It doesn't enter my mind.
Do you touch your penis when you pee?
I don't.
But do some people?
I do. Of course, everyone does. What do you think I do? Just like lean against the wall?
I don't know how it works.
And hang it in? No, of course I do.
You just
I
dangle it
did
over
used
the
to work
drain.
with somebody though. Anytime I would walk in on him using the urinal, he was always standing like Superman with his like hands on his hips.
See, that's hygienic.
That's crazy. I mean, that's big. That's something. I can't do that. I need to aim it.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, no.
Interesting. So
I touch it.
is a penis skin inherently, it's probably like some of the cleanest skin on your body because it's like tucked away all day.
I don't feel like that's true.
Really?
No, because it's like in a dark, musty place. You think
It
penis
is the
skin
basement of the body.
You think penis skin is the cleanest skin?
I don't know. I mean, it just means that it's covered. It's not like coming into regular contact with contaminants. Like this is, I don't wash my legs in the shower.
What? You don't?
I don't wash my legs unless I'm like intentionally like shaving my legs or exfoliating. I don't put soap. I don't lather up my legs.
I wash my legs.
You wash your legs?
I have a scrub. I scrub everywhere. I scrub my arms, then underarms. I wash down my legs, pick up my feet, wash under each foot.
Yeah, I wash feet. I think I do head, face, armpits, nether regions, feet. And then I assume that gravity is taking care of the rest.
I do shampoo first, so it'll sit in there the longest, and that makes me feel like it gets super clean. And then I do shoulders, arms, chest,
Head,
legs,
shoulders,
feet.
knees, and toes.
Do face last.
Interesting. Wow. The
Face
things we do in
last.
private.
Yeah. What I would like if they would do, I don't know how it plays out when they do the scan. I wish there was a mounted monitor in the restaurant so all of us could see.
That would actually be really good.
And then we could shame them like Game of Thrones.
Shame. It's only $50 a month for the restaurant to have this device in the bathroom. So I'm curious what the household unit goes for.
Well, that's fun. I'm excited to see where that goes. Maybe we'll do a follow-up on that.
You know what? You're not alone, because this is something I should mention earlier. The Center for Disease Control and Prevention says that food workers wash their hands as they should only 1 in 3 times. It doesn't seem sufficient for me, the person who's rolling up my burrito.
That's not good.
Well,
good for this brand for trying to finally technology's being used for something good.
yes, we are supporters of PathSpot. They raised more than $20 million in funding, and they have an anchor investment from Starbucks. So the person who's stirring your latte with their index finger, I guess you can rest assured that finger's clean. I don't know.
That's so crazy that you said that. Can I just tell you this quick story? When I was a kid, my mom took us to McDonald's, or we stopped at McDonald's. She wanted a coffee. So she sent me in to get her coffee.
Sent you in. I love that.
Sent me in to get her coffee.
What an era.
I bought the coffee. And so I ordered the coffee, and the woman gives it to me, and she's like, sweetie, I don't know if this is still hot. Took the lid off, stuck her finger in it to make sure it was hot, put the lid back on, and was like, oh, it's good. And I was a kid and I knew that wasn't right. So I went and told my mom, I was like, Mom, the lady put her finger in your coffee. And honestly, I hate to do this. I don't know how we resolved it.
Wow.
I don't know if my mom was like, that's okay, or if she flipped her lid or threw it out or what. But yeah, that happened.
I definitely would not be able to drink that coffee.
I would not be able to
Especially because of the air. I'm just imagining a long red press-on nail stirring around in there.
Just floating in.
Oh,
the
yikes.
glue melted it off.
Al, would you have drank the coffee?
Are you kidding me? Al wouldn't even Al won't drink a coffee if I just hand it to him.
We need this light, this hand scanner pro.
He's going to have one of those lights on the top of his door of his apartment. So when I walk in, he can just see everything that's on me. Well, thank you. That was a very fun, brand news.
That's fun. Well, thank you so much for a fun and festive episode for St. Patrick's Day. Hopefully we left you with some facts to share at your St. Patrick's Day party. And Jon drank a whole Guinness, so kudos to you.
Thanks. It was great.
If you like the show, please subscribe, rate, and review. Leave us a lovely complimentary review on Apple Podcasts. We love that. And we love hearing from you guys. So if you want to check out our Instagram at OnBrandThePod, you can see clips from the show, see supplemental content for the show, and write to us on there. If you have a brand you want us to talk about, we would love to hear, or have any other thoughts about the episode. If you've tried my trick ordering a Coca-Cola in a Guinness glass, or Jon's Grape Crush life hack, write to us. We'd love to hear. And we will be back next week with an all-new episode of On Brand.
Thank you, Marissa. And as I always like to say, we may go off topic, but we will always be on brand.
Bye.
Bye.
It's on brand.